Hi guys, in today's video we are going to be looking at how we can cut out images alongside with the shadow for our composite in Adobe Photoshop. This is Twisted Creative. I like the man is my name. If it's your first time on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not only by hitting that subscribe button, also ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. Without wasting much time, let's jump into it. So here is the image we are going to be using. And if you take a look at the downside of the image, you notice that we have shadow. We have shadow underneath the shoe here, and we have shadow underneath the shoe here, and we also have shadow around the background, downside of the backdrop. Take our move tool and drag this image from that to this. Before you start anything, make sure you position the image very well on your frame the way you want it to be on your frame, because it's not good for you to be moving it around because there is going to be displacement. I like it on this frame like this. Then what we are going to do is just to use our Ctrl J to create a copy. We can name the first one as main. Then the second one, we can name it as shadow. We have to cut away the top side of the shadow layer because we are not going to make use of it. Let's cut it out by dragging it to this extent. Then push delete. We can feather with, let's say 10 or 20 should be okay. As feather with 20 and delete. Then if I disable this now, you notice that we only have the downside for the shadow layer. Then enable it back and use Ctrl D to deselect. Then we can now move to the main image and pick our object selection tool and drag it around the image. Then after dragging it around, you can see that there are some little mistakes. Anyway, then we can pick up our lasso tool and start to make correction by, this is the neutral one, the first one. Then we can use shortcut for the rest ones. If you hold your shift, plus is added. Then if you hold your alt, minus is added to the lasso tool. So let's go by removing this place. That is minus. We need minus. Then we have to hold alt before we start. Then you can let go. Then inside this little area, you have to hold your alt to remove the inner side. Then let's take a look at the fingernails. Then we have to hold our alt here to remove. Hold alt here to remove this part. Then hold shift here to add up this part. Then hold alt to remove. Then hold shift to add a little of this. So like this little area, hold your alt to remove. Hold alt here to remove. Then hold shift here to add. Then hold alt here to remove. Hold shift here to add. Shift to add. Shift to add. Alt to remove. Shift to add. Then alt to remove. Shift to add. Alt to remove. Alt to remove. Shift to add. Shift to add. Shift to add. Alt to remove. Alt to remove. Alt to remove. Then we have to add selection. We have to add to the hair so as to secure the tiny part of the hair. So I believe that the selection is done. So we have it like this. Then the next thing we do here is for us to delete the background. We have to delete the background from the main image. We have to right click on the image and select inverse. Then after selecting inverse, we right click also and feather with 2. So we have to push our delete 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason why we push our delete 4 times is for us to fastly remove the fringes around the image. So we have to deselect with Ctrl D and see if it is well selected. So as you can see, we have a very clean selection now. Then the next thing we do is for us to secure the hair. Then we'll pick up our lasso tool and create selection around where we can see the transparency of the hair, as in where we can see through. Like where we have white background, we have to select those areas so as to clean up the white background. So after getting the selection, you go to your background eraser tool. Then this background eraser tool, if you right click, you notice we have eraser tool, background eraser tool, then magic eraser tool. Then we have to make sure background eraser tool is selected. On this place where you have 3 eyedroppers, make sure the middle one is selected. If you go to the limit here, make sure, if you check the drop down here, we have discontiguous, contiguous and fine edge. Then we have to make sure discontiguous is selected. At tolerance, you can use between 60 and 70, depending on what you are working on. Then we have one of these tutorial here to show you how you can remove hair from background. Then at least 70 is okay. Wherever you have the plus mark is your sample. So you have to pick up a sample by click and hold. If you click and hold, now you notice that the sample has been selected and it is removing white. So we have to deselect. After removing the white background, we have to use our Ctrl D to deselect and we check up our image. Then this is what we have. We have a very clean selected image now. Then if I disable this background layer, you notice we have just a plain image without shadow on the floor, which is a kind of funny and unprofessional. Then if you want to make it professional, that is when we add the lower part of this, which is another copy of the same image with original shadow. If your background is dirty, it will not work very well. So you have to make sure, if you are shooting stuff like this, make sure you have a clean background for the purpose. So we have it like this. Then we can increase the contrast. Of that shadow layer by selecting the shadow layer, then go to image, adjustment and contrast. Then you can pull up the contrast a little and increase the brightness. But mind you, the more you increase the brightness, the more you lose the shadows. But let's just say okay by hitting okay by this contrast and brightness. Then we'll have it a little bit cleaner than it was before. Then we have to go to blend mode and choose among the blending mode that darkens. So we have to be on, it's either linear burn or color burn. I think linear burn is a kind of showing the depths and all that, but it will be cleaner with color burn. Then we have it selected. Then we have color burn. Then let's see before and after. This is before and this is after. This is before, this is after. Isn't it amazing already? It's amazing already. Let's take a look at it again. Let's see before and after. Before and after. But if you check around this area, you can see that black. Let's see before. It's not there. After is there. So what we have to do to remove that is for us to pick up our lasso tool and make selection of that particular area that has such stuff. Let's say we can start by, let's say from here, we can just take here, add this area, then go this way, then here, then we'll see have part of it around here. Then just take our shadow to this area and then secure the downside, and that is it. Then we have to feather with, let's say 50 or 20 should be enough, or let's say 50 and hit OK. Make sure the shadow layer is selected, then press your delete once or twice. Then if you zoom in again, you notice we no longer have that stuff around the edges. So if you deselect now, we have a very clean selection, and as you can see, that is the shadow. If you feel the shadow is not dark enough, you can also go to image adjustment, then brightness and contrast, then you turn down the brightness a little. And there is still way you can go to your hue and saturation, go to image adjustment, then hue and saturation, and desaturate the image, the shadow. Sometimes it comes out reddish or whatever. You can desaturate it to make it a kind of black. So hit OK. Then we have it like this. So if you want to try out another stuff, say let's see how another background is going to look, let's just come here and say pick part of this image and drop it here and spread it up and spread it down. This is image and fill it up with this. Then if you check, you notice that this is before and this is after. This is before, this is after. Let's disable this background and see. This is before on the blue, plain blue, and this is after. This is before and this is after. Let's see the other one again. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. Isn't that simple and amazing? So that is it for today on how you can cut out image alongside with the shadow for your composite in Adobe Photoshop. If you find it interesting, helpful, and useful, let us know in the comment section, telling us where it has helped, where it has not, and the area we need to improve on. Like I said earlier, if it's your first time on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not only by hitting that subscribe button, also ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. Thanks for watching today's video. Creative people who keep on creating, please stay creative. Continue creating. For now, bye. See you in the next video.